Where you living? Who's taking? Who's giving? Let's talk about it. Real people, real voices.
Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, Reverend David W. Green Sr.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Dr. Moore, it's so good to be with you out in the community.
Out in the community, man, man, you don't know, I'm blushing about this. This is my passion, being able to take information to the community, talking to people in the community, being able to get things that we hear about correct from the right people. That's what I like.
Can you share with us our sponsors?
We sure can. Concerned Clergy of Indianapolis is one of our number one sponsors. Number two sponsors, Baptist Ministers Alliance. Then we have Tomiko and Associates Realty Group, His Place Eatery. Check out the Catfish on Fridays, phenomenal. Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, Marion County Public Health Department, North Side Window Gutter Cleaning, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office, Rodney Stepp Musical Productions, and Lavinia Summers Home of Funerals. Those are our Power Pack sponsors, President.
Well, thank you for all of our sponsors. Thank all of you for joining us on tonight. You know, Real People, Real Voices. We talk to real people about real issues.
Yes, sir. Every time we are here, that's what our objective is.
And we're on the Community Justice Complex, but we've got somebody here tonight, the site manager for the Assessment and Intervention Center. And you want to hear about this information.
I think it's
because
needed.
all of us got people in our family, people that we know, that the assessment center can help.
Yeah.
The Assessment Intervention Center. So I want you to, we're going to take a quick break. I want everybody to stay tuned, call somebody, because you want to come back and hear from this site manager.
Let's talk about it. Real people, real voices. Real people, real voices.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm excited, Pastor Moore.
Yeah.
Because we have this site manager, Miss Jennifer Chanelli, who is in charge of the Assessment and Intervention Center here on the Community Justice Complex. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tell the audience, what is the AIC? What does it do?
Sure, the Assessment and Intervention Center is a collaboration between the City of Indianapolis, specifically the Office of Public Health and Safety, and Sandra Eskenazi Mental Health Center. And our goal is to link people to their next step in recovery. So what does that mean? It varies from person to person. So individuals can be referred to the Assessment and Intervention Center, or they can just simply show up and walk through our doors and say, I need help. I don't know where to go. I'm struggling with a mental health and/or substance use issue. And from there, our team is a phenomenal team. They will take it from there. They will provide a medical assessment for the individual, and if needed, link them to the medical provider that they need to help them continue with their care or start with a care for a long-term medical issue that maybe they didn't even know that they had. They can link them to 28-day substance use programs. They provide a mental health assessment and work on getting that individual connected to that mental health provider. And the nice thing about the Assessment and Intervention Center is that all of the services are free of charge. We are 24/7 facility, so we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and all anybody has to do is walk in our door and say, I need help. And we're going to be there to help them.
Jennifer, did I hear you say it's for inmates?
It's for anybody who walks in our door.
Let me finish now. It's for inmates as well. And then anybody that walks through your door.
Anybody who walks through our door. We are a voluntary program, so the individual would have to be released and not currently incarcerated. But anybody who walks through our door and says, I need help. Yeah.
Right here at this center.
Right here at the center on this Community Justice Campus.
See, this is the option instead of being an inmate, that you can say, hey, let me get some help.
Before I become an inmate.
Before I become an inmate, so we can truly make a difference. Can you share a little bit more about the services that you will do for somebody who just, because you said literally somebody can just show up at the AIC.
Absolutely. Anybody could just show up at the AIC. So the first individual they're going to meet with is one of our advanced care providers. And they're going to get that medical screening. And if need be, they would be sent to a higher level of care if we can't provide that care within the facility. Because we want safety is number one for everybody. After meeting with that advanced care provider, they're going to shower. We're able to launder their clothing. And so if somebody leaves our facility, they will have clean, fresh clothes to wear back into the community. And then they'll be taken upstairs to our second floor, which is known as the Rubin Engagement Center. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Rubin Engagement Center, but we carried over a lot of philosophies from the Rubin Engagement Center to the Assessment and Intervention Center.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure.
Because that's around the homeless portion, correct?
Correct. So the Rubin Engagement Center did phenomenal work working with individuals who are struggling with both homelessness and a substance use disorder. So when they were conceptualizing the AIC, they went, okay, that's a great start, but how can we expand that? So we added, you don't have to be homeless to come to the Assessment and Intervention Center. We added a protocol for pregnant women, which was something new that the Rubin Engagement Center didn't have, up and running. And then we added the mental health component. So anybody struggling with a mental health or substance use disorder and pregnant women can come to the Assessment and Intervention Center and say, I need help.
And so now, the AIC is serving like as a gateway to other mental health resources in our community?
Absolutely. So you keep asking me about services, so let me elaborate a little bit more on services. So when somebody becomes a guest at the Assessment and Intervention Center on our second floor, they would meet with a mental health clinician and have that mental health screening. That mental health clinician would provide recommendations on if that individual needed mental health treatment or if they wanted mental health treatment and what kind of treatment they wanted. Do they want an outpatient treatment? Do they want an intensive program? And what would be the best fit, not only for that individual, but what part of town do they live in, right? Because one of the barriers for individuals to stay in treatment is transportation.
Yes.
And why would I refer somebody all the way north for treatment if I know that they don't have that transportation, they live way south? So really looking at those dynamics. Individuals, when they're up on the unit, would also meet with our peer recovery coaches that do phenomenal work with the individuals. So a peer recovery coach is somebody who has lived experience and is in recovery from a substance use disorder or mental health. And their work is so intricate in them sharing their story with the individuals there who might be scared at taking that first step in recovery. Our peer recovery coaches provide one-on-one sessions with the individuals who are there. They provide 2 groups a day, one in the morning, which is recovery focused, and then one in the afternoon, which is more recreational focused. And then we have our resource coordinators, and they are a big piece of the backbone of the workings of the AIC. So they're going to meet with the individual and do a resource assessment. What are your barriers? What do you need? What do you need in place to get to what you think you need? Do you need an ID? Okay, we can help you get an ID, because without an ID and a birth certificate, you're really not going to do a lot of things. And so they know how to help individuals get those. Do you want to go to a 28-day program? Okay, a 28-day program for recovery. Okay, what insurance do you have? Okay, you have this insurance. These are the programs that take your insurance. So they really meet with the clients every day until they get placed. Our goal when somebody walks in the door is to start working on a discharge plan and have that plan and just continue to develop that plan as they're there.
Jennifer, what about someone, Dr. Green, that does not have insurance? Mm-hmm. How does that work?
So we help them get insurance. We will link them to financial counselors of their choice. So that could be maybe somebody has a connection with a hospital up north and all of their care is up north. So we would work with them in that hospital to get them back there and to get that insurance started. We can start the process, but what we want is somebody there to maybe finish the process with them, because as we know, it takes more than 3 to 5 days to get that insurance established, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When we've got so much mental health issues in our community, I just think the Assessment Intervention Center is something that so few people know about.
That was my next question. When will this be robustly marketed to the community? Because it has not been. And why isn't it being marketed? Because we are in a mental health crisis in this city. Many people are familiar with the work and behaviors of Rubin engagement, but at the same time, how do we get this information and people can tap into it and be treated effectively to move to the next level?
Well, that's a loaded question. So, Jennifer, let's take a break. We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about what does the future look like for the AIC as we're going forward, given the rise, even more focus on mental health in our community. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get an answer to a very important question.
Let's talk about it. Real people, real voices. Real people, real voices.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, Reverend David W. Green
I'm
Sr.
your co-host, Pastor Wade Moore.
And we are talking with the site manager for the Assessment Intervention Center here on the Community Justice Complex. And we want to shift it now to really looking at the future. What type of resources do you see, Sister Jennifer, as we go year 23, 24, 25? What changes do you envision for the AIC? We know mental health is often it's certainly talked about more than it has been in the past. So I'm anticipating there will be additional resources needed. And based on the things you've seen thus far, you know, what things would you like to see in the AIC as it goes forward?
Well, the vision for the AIC, that's a very good question, thank you. And what I see, the vision of the AIC is continue to grow as a community partner with many organizations out there. So the AIC is a community in a city program, like I said before, that it is free. And really getting the word out there about the AIC. The AIC opened in the height of COVID, so there was lots of things surrounding that. And so there was a celebration when it opened, but it wasn't a very big celebration because of all of the restrictions because of COVID. So I think moving forward, getting the voice of the AIC out there, participating in conversations like today is very helpful on getting the AIC out there, as well as communicating to everybody in the city of Indianapolis that all you have to do is come to the AIC, or you can call 317-327-8733 and say, I need help, I would like to make a referral. Some other projects that we have a program with Lyft. So if the individual cannot drive and cannot get to the AIC, we can send a Lyft to pick them up, and they will bring them to the AIC, once again, free of charge. So we're taking out all the barriers. And so for 2023, I really foresee even taking out more barriers as we identify them to continue to have people utilize the AIC. Every person that comes into the AIC, we're planting a seed, right? We're planting a seed for them to grow in their recovery. And if they come back 3 or 4 times, that's okay. We're planting that seed 3 or 4 times.
And you're not turning them down.
No, we're not turning them down.
And that's what you got to have. So it's good to hear the Lyft and other people are coming along, willing to participate in these important programs that have a tremendous impact in our community. So you're seeing, these additional, you're talking about removing barriers. And so we're going to take those barriers one at a time.
One at a time.
It'd be nice to get them at 100, but realistically, we know we got to take them one at a time. So you see that happening over the next few years as we continue to grow the AIC.
Absolutely, and particularly one of the reasons the AIC was built was as a diversion program for our law enforcement officers to use that. They might come across somebody, and instead of arresting them or taking them to the hospital, maybe the AIC is an option for that individual, and really continuing to grow all of those collaborations with our law enforcement friends, because I think we kind of forget it's not just IMPD, it's Lawrence, it's Speedway, it's Beech Grove, that there are 5 different law enforcement agencies that touch Marion County and that are inside
And could have
Marion
access
County.
to AIC.
Absolutely.
I think that's important that is understood, that the alternative plan, instead of taking someone directly to, they can come
Right.
to the AIC for assessment. The numbers, how do the numbers look so far for the AIC programs that you have?
So the numbers are pretty impressive. The first year the AIC was open, so from the end of 2020 to 2021, we fielded over 2,400 referrals. So not everybody showed up. 1,700 of those individuals showed up. And then just a little over 1,400 of those individuals became guests in the Rubin Engagement Center on the second floor. We're on track to hit those numbers or overshoot those numbers this year. So I don't have that specific data in front of me.
I just want to know
but
if AIC is working. That's all. And it sounds like it is.
It is, and I would love to share a success story with you. So one of the resource coordinators talked today. They got a phone call from an individual who had been at the AIC multiple times, and they called today or sometime this week and shared that they have a year sobriety underneath their belt. Right?
From AI, started
from
at
AIC, a year sobriety, and now they're in classes to become a peer recovery coach to give back.
Phenomenal.
And they're really excited. Had another individual call, and they completed a program that we sent them to. It was a 90-day program that we sent them to. They are continuing. They have 90+ days in recovery, as well as they got their own apartment. And now they're looking for a job. So when we're talking about making change, it really is making the small changes and helping one individual at a time, and then thinking about that ripple effect of what that individual their impact on another individual, the community around them.
Now, Jennifer, what drives your passion for this work? Because it's coming through.
I love to see people succeed. I come from a household where my mother struggled with mental health disorders her whole entire life, and to know that that person in that bed or coming through the door, just knowing that is somebody's loved one, that is somebody's mother, somebody's brother, somebody's grandparent, somebody's child, and really to treat them as if that was my own mother or my own brother coming through the door.
You want to see people get better and well.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
she's serious about it. She's committed to it. I've had the opportunity. We had as a staff training, mental health first aid training. Jennifer was my instructor.
Yeah.
So I know she's
remember
real
when you had that, President.
passionate about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just applaud her commitment in this area, because it does take perseverance, patience, because most of the times people don't get it right the first time. We don't get it right the first time, Pastor Moore.
No.
And sometimes you got to have patience with us as we're developing. None of us have arrived yet. We're all in the development stage, and sometimes we got to be reminded of that. We need people around us who can have the patience to.
And I just don't want the AIC to be an idea. I want I want to see results for all people take place in the city of Indianapolis.
Absolutely.
That become a part of it. But to tell me today that anyone can walk in and get help is
Anyone.
phenomenal.
And if we got somebody you need to call for, et cetera, make that phone call, and make sure we take advantage of the Assessment Intervention Center. It's a great resource. Some of our great resources in Indianapolis are underutilized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need to take advantage of it versus just allowing somebody to continue in their sickness. When they're ready to make a change, the AIC is there to help.
Yeah.
24/7,
24/7.
365 days a week.
Absolutely. And one thing that I do always offer to our community partners or anybody out there, if somebody would like to tour the AIC, All they would have to do is call the number 317-327-8733 and ask to speak with Jennifer, or have one of my team members give me a note, and I'll call back and get a tour scheduled for them.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer, we're going to get that tour in. Thanks for sharing all that great information. We got to take our break, and then we'll be back for our rundown.
Let's talk about it. Real people, real voices. Real people, real voices.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. We've had a great show on today, learning about the Assessment Intervention Center.
Yeah, and I think it's important for us to really understand that this is not going away anytime soon.
No.
This issue with our communities and who are experiencing severe and chronic mental illness. Since we talked some 5 to 6 years ago about tearing down the silence, this thing has been so progressive, breaking down the silence. When Michelle Obama was on with us on our tape and everything that we created, it was amazing, and she helped us to get that going. And here in the city, it's just been people just been stepping out, talking about their issues.
It has to happen. Mr. Producer, it's so good to have you with
so
us.
good to be here.
What
Could you give
was
us
your
our sponsor?
thoughts on the show before you give us
Yes.
a
Well,
sponsor?
Yes.
I mean, it's a situation that is so needed. When the hospitals, not hospitals, but when LaRue Carter and Central State and all those facilities are closed, it's like it's a lost area that, homeless camps, jail, where do they go? And there's so many people out there that are needing help, that are stuck in between these two places, that this facility or this assessment center is definitely needed.
For sure.
Can we have our sponsors?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry.
'Cause we need more sponsors.
We need more sponsors.
Yes.
The Concerned Clergy of Indianapolis, the Baptist Minister Alliance, Tamiko Associates Realty Group, His Place Eatery, good catfish. They have this good, I can tell you more about that. Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, Marion County Public Health Department, get your flu shot. Northside Window and Gutter Cleaning, Marion County Sheriff's Office, Rodney Stepp Music Productions, he retired, Lavinia and Summers Home of Funerals are our sponsors.
Thank you, Mr. Baker, for providing our sponsors. We want to say to our audience on tonight, don't forget about that Assessment and Intervention Center here on the Community Justice Complex. If you've got a loved one, yourself, let's take advantage of a resource that has a great price. It's free. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
On behalf of your Real People, Real Voices team, we want to say good evening and see you next week.